afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tahir Bekiroğlu. I am going to moderate the second session. I extend my greetings and respects to all participants. In this session, if possible, 4 presentations will be made on operational lessons in 21st century wars. The first presentation on the role of airborne and air assault operations in modern conflicts will be presented by Mr. Kosar Kazaki Paul from Iran. Are you online, Mr. Paul?
Hello, my name is Kosar Gazze'ye. Yes, I'm online.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, please make your presentation in 12 minutes.
Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored to be here and share my ideas today about the role of airborne and air assault operation in modern conflicts. Since the mid-20th century, airborne and air assault operation have represented some of the most daring, complex, and decisive undertaking in military history. These operations combine speed, surprise, and flexibility, qualities that allowed armed forces to put. Do you have my voice?
Yes, please continue.
Okay. These operations combine speed, surprise, and flexibility, qualities that allowed armed forces to project power deep into enemy territory and achieve objectives that would otherwise be unattainable. To appreciate their modern relevance, we must briefly look back at their origin during World War II. Airborne operations revolutionized warfare. The Allied parachute and glider assaults in Normandy and the Netherlands, and Italy demonstrated that forces delivered from the air could seize key terrain, disrupt enemy defenses, and open pathways for larger ground offensives for large ground offensive.
Miss Paul, please, before going further, do you have slides for your presentation?
No, I haven't.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay. Airborne and where am I? Okay.
You can go.
This early success proved that control of the skies could transform the dynamics of ground warfare. Airborne and air assault units became symbols of anti-weight, adaptability, and boldness, attributes that continue to define them today. My research is grounded in 2 major theoretical perspectives. First, the lightning war emphasizes rapid, coordinated strikes combining air, land, and sometimes naval forces to overwhelm the enemy before they can respond effectively. Second, the concept of combined arm operation focuses on a integration of different military branches, infantry, armor, artillery, aviation, and logistic working together as a single cohesive forces. Airborne and air assault operation embody both theories. They rely on speed and synchronization. Success depends not just on a paratrooper or air assault units themselves, but on process coordination with air cover, artillery support, and ground follow-up forces. Fast forward to the 21st century, the battlefield has changed dramatically. We now operate in a world of asymmetric warfare, urban combat, hybrid threats, and high-tech adversaries. Yet, despite these changes, the sense of airborne and air assault operations remains to deliver decisive forces rapidly and unpredictably. Modern conflicts, such as those in Afghanistan and Iraq, have vividly demonstrated the continued relevance of these operations. Helicopter-borne troops were used extensively to insert forces into mountainous and urban terrain where traditional armored units could not easily maneuver. In Afghanistan, for instance, air assault missions allowed coalition forces to reach insurgent stronghold in remote valleys, disrupting enemy networks and denying them safe havens. In Iraq, rapid airborne insertions played key roles in securing strategic points and cutting off retreating forces during the early stage of operations. However, these operations have not remained static. They have evolved alongside technology. Modern helicopters, tilt-rotor aircraft, and precision-guided weapons have transformed the reach and lethality of air assault forces. Unmanned aerial vehicles, drones now provide real-time intelligence and reconnaissance, drastically improving situational awareness before and during missions. Communication system, satellite navigation, and data sharing platforms have made coordination between ground and air units faster and more accurate than ever before. Yet, technology alone is not enough. The human factor, leadership, training, moral, and adaptability continue to determine success on the ground. Of course, airborne and air assault operations are not without their challenges. Troops remain vulnerable during the initial landing phases when they are exposed to enemy fire before establishing secure positions. Logistical demands are immense. Supplying a force that is deep behind enemy lines requires prices, planning, and continuous air support. Moreover, the proliferation of advanced air defense systems poses a serious threat. Adversaries equipped with radar-guided missiles or drones can detect and counter airborne insertion more effectively than ever before. I have time to continue.
Okay, yes, continue, please.
Therefore, successful modern operations require not only speed and courage, but also technological superiority, deception, and electronic warfare capabilities to suppress or evade enemy defenses. Despite these difficulties, airborne and air assault operations continue to offer unique strategic advantages. They provide the ability to strike where the enemy least expects it, to seize initiative and to shape the battlefield early in a conflict. They also serve important political and psychological purposes, demonstrations, nation resolve. Deterring aggression and reassuring allies. In many cases, the mere capability to conduct such operations can influence an adversary's calculations before combat even begin. To enhance their effectiveness, several steps are essential. Continued development of advanced aircraft, drones, and precision delivery system will increase survivability and reach, improving interforces coordination between air, land, and a spatial operation unit will ensure a smoother execution of complex missions. Sorry.
This concludes your presentation.
Conducting regular. What?
This conclusions your briefing.
I can't hear you. Okay. In conclusion, airborne and air assault operations remain one of the most vital tools in modern military strategy. Their core principles, speed, flexibility, and surprise have endured from World War II to today's dynamics and unpredictably battlefields. While technological progress and evolving threats have transformed how these operations are executed, their strategic purpose remains constant to achieve decisive results swiftly. Often in the most difficult and hostile environments, the lesson of past and present conflicts remains us that victory in modern warfare depends on agility. Innovation and integration. Airborne and air assault forces embody all three. They represent not only tactical capability, but also a mindset commitment to innovative adaptability and precision in an area where conflicts are increasingly multi-domain. Their role will expand beyond traditional combat to include humanities, peacekeeping, and rapid response mission. As we look ahead, the challenge for modern military will be to balance tradition with innovation, to preserve the courage and spirit that have long defined airborne forces, while embracing new technologies that will shape their future effectiveness. The continued evolution will ensure that when crises arise, a nation can respond swiftly, decisively, and effectively anywhere in the world. Thank you for your attention.
Ms. Paul, thank you very much for your comprehensive presentation. Is there any questions to Ms. Paul?
I'm Kosak Gazze. Sorry for that.
If there is no question, we can continue the next presentation. The second presentation on how does Hamas benefit from its web of tunnels is planned to be presented by Associate Professor Ibrahim Karataş. Mr. Karataş, are you online? Can you hear me, Mr. Karataş? Oh. Let me go further. The third presentation on where science and tactics meet, a comprehensive guide to improving close-quarter battle training for German conventional police units, will be presented by Mr. Lee Bak. Mr. Bak, are you online? Do you hear me, Mr. Bak? No. Let's go further. The other last presentation on the dimensions of battlefields in the Russia-Ukraine war will be presented by Mr. Cumhur Erentürk. Mr. Erentürk, are you online?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm online.
Please make your presentation in 12 minutes. Do you have any slides for
Yes,
your
sir.
presentation?
I will upload. I will show it.
Okay.
My presentation will be a continuation of the first part, but during the first part, I've forgotten to upload or to show correctly. So this time I will do it from the beginning. Here and here. Okay. So this will be a continuation of the first part, as I said before. Now I will focus on the Russia-Ukrainian war, the dimensions of battlefield. The outline of my presentation is shown on the slide. From the issue of Gerasimov's article to the annex of Crimea in 2014, and later occupation of the eastern Ukraine in 2022, until today, the timeline of major events of Russia-Ukrainian war is shown on the slide. As all you know, the Russian military entered Ukraine from 4 points. And in that war, the front line in Ukraine is approximately 800 kilometers. The front line is almost equal to distance from Sinop to Mersin, and the area of operation is almost equal to area of the inner Anatolia region. Now, if we come to the beginning of the war, after the defeat of the Battle of Ilovaisk in August 2014, during the so-called special operation, Ukraine made military reforms called as new hybrid transformation model in 2014. In this context, at the beginning of the 2022 war, each brigade used to cover approximately 20 kilometers front. And as you will remember, at the end of the 42nd day, I mean the 6 weeks of war, the Russian forces withdrew from the Kiev region. In that slide, you see the decline of the withdrawal. And now, the battles occurred in the form of urban combat in and around the cities along the axis of advance in Ukraine. The battles around the major cities were about 20 to 30 kilometers radius. For major counterattacks of Kharkiv and Kherson, the depth is around 60 kilometers and the front is about between 140 and 240, as shown on the slide. Population and physical footprint are important in urban operations. Since World War II, it can be said that both of them has increased in Ukrainian cities. After the withdrawal from Kiev, Russia focused on the east of the Ukraine, Donbas region. So the battles almost occurred in that area. And the general look of the battles is on screen. In 2023, we can highlight two battles. One is Bakhmut, which is about 12 kilometers to 4 kilometers. The other is Battle of Vuhledar. This is the largest tank battle of the war. It's about, again, 20 kilometers to 30 kilometers. The overall major battles of 2023 are on screen. And 2024, for that year, Ukraine assault in Kursk region can be accepted as prominent. The battlefield is almost 1/4 size of the battle in World War II, which is about 25 to 50 kilometers dimensions. Major battles in 2024 shown on screen. In 25, the engagements in the Battle of Toretsk was within 15 to 20 kilometers radius area. And again in 2025, the drone attack in June shows clearly that the battlefield was transformed to battle space and operational environment. As an example of asymmetric warfare, the drone attack caused the dimensions of battlefield expanded. So we can make a summary of Ukrainian-Russian war battle as occurred in continuous frontage of 800 kilometers in nonlinear area of operations within ground force depth 40 to 106 kilometers, but UAVs expanded the operational depth up to 5,000 kilometers. Additional features are scattered battlefields along multiple avenues approach, conducted in type of urban operations, urban combat, so intense fighting in and around the cities, localized tactical entry engagements, major counteroffensive reach 6 to 65 kilometers in depth, prolonged warfare, this reflects the proxy war dynamics, hybrid operations, military, non-state, and cyber and information, and high involvement of non-state actors. So we can make the summary of the dimensions of battles in Ukraine. This concludes my briefing, sir.
Thank you very much for your comprehensive presentation. Thank you again.
Thanks.
I saw the name Libak. Are you online, Mr. Libak? Mr. Buck, are you online?
Is it now working, the microphone?
Okay. Miss Buck, are you online?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Miss Buck
Is
will
my
present.
microphone not working? I think I've got some issues here.
Microphone is not working at the moment. Do you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay.
No
Good.
problem. Okay.
Sorry.
Ms. Buck will present Word Science and Tactics Meet, a comprehensive guide to improving close quarter battle training for German conventional police units. Please make your presentation in 12 minutes.
Yes, of course. I think you have my presentation. You received it.
We have received only abstract.
I will pull up my presentation. Give me 2 minutes. I did send it in, but that's not a problem. All right.
Do you have slides for your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, please.
I will. You should be able to see the presentation now, yes?
Okay, please go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is Leah Buch. I'm from Germany, and my focus is in applied research, especially in enhancing CQB training and performance through interdisciplinary and data-driven research. This is a research I did in cooperation with a German company that trains police and military units. And I will briefly talk about why this is an important topic, or why I think we should do more about it, how my research design was. Then I'll dive into my findings and briefly into the recommendations I've gathered from the research that I did. So why do we even need this? CQB in urban warfare is one of the most complex tasks, arguably, for an infantry unit or for a police force. We have a 360-degree threat. We have difficulties with discrimination between civilian and military targets. And the advantage usually lies with the defender of the urban area. Why is it important that we study it more? I think somebody's microphone is not off. Yes, thank you so much. I think it's important to note that fighting in cities is only continuing to increase. We can look at the current conflicts, whether that may be in Gaza or in Ukraine. A lot of fighting is done within the cities, and also predictions within the research community point to an increase of fighting in urban areas. We have more people that live in cities. We have armies that get smaller. So cities have the advantage for smaller armies compared to large front lines, and because they negate the effects of force ratios that we have on large front lines. In the police context, we have a rise of armed confrontation between police units and members of society. We have 2 data points here on the slide, which is, for one, the FBI statistic, and the BKA, which is the German statistics, that both show a rise in crimes that involve guns. And especially because this was mostly done with German units. In Germany in 2015, we changed the concept for police units in how they respond to large-scale attacks, like an amok scenario, which meant that conventional units were now trained in CQB operations. Overall, this study aims to improve CQB training by generating critical knowledge to start to create a framework to study CQB tactics within the public sector. Because we do have a quite large gap in literature. We have very, very few studies that look at CQB, especially CQB tactics, on the public sector. I know within certain units and within militaries, there's studies done on that topic already. And what that leads to is that the training that especially conventional units receive that do not have their own resources is very limited. It's often relatively old and shaped by dogma. And ultimately, that's doing a disservice to the personnel that we are sending into some very dangerous situations. The study has a relatively unique design in terms of how the data was gathered. It's around 120 force-on-force observations. What that means is that teams were doing runs through a shoot house, and these runs were observed. In total, 14 data points were analyzed, and the data points ranged from movement patterns to impact points. The special thing about the observations was that there's two viewpoints that were used for these. It's, for one, the viewpoint from above, from a catwalk that's above the training area, and the second one is the people, the trainers that portrayed the opposing force. They also gave their insights on how they saw the situation devolve, and this dual viewpoint gives more nuanced details that cannot be received from just one point. The data then was analyzed in three separate steps. Firstly, it was a deductive data analysis based on the categories identified by Anthony King in his 2016 paper, which is one of the only papers on the topic of CQB specifically. Then there was an inductive analysis to determine the gaps in knowledge and to cross-reference the data points from the deductive analysis and find gaps. And then lastly, I did a costliness analysis, what I called it. So basically, based on the Committee of TCCC triage guidelines, the hit points on the operators were identified to see, in cross-reference with the first two analysis points, where is what mistakes are the costliest, or which ones lead to the most injuries. One of the limitations of the study is that it only used one school of tactics, one methodology that was taught within the company. So we would have to do this study again with a different set of tactics to see whether the data is completely uniquely applicable to those. What were the findings? So first of all, the deductive analysis. King 2016 argues that there's two big groups of skills for CQB, which is the group skills and the individual skills. Under the individual skills, the ones that were the most prevalent or the biggest mistakes in the observations were, for one, mistakes related to stress resistance, which relates to fine motor function, especially in the use of weapons, and the use of cover and concealment, which refers to how you position yourself around a door or within a room to ensure the least of the body is showing towards other angles of the room. Within the group category, teamwork, especially communications and coordinated movement, were a big issue, and also understanding urban structures, which relates to cover and concealment use, angles and visibility were a big issue there, of people not quite understanding how visibility around angles works, basically. In the inductive analysis, interestingly, there were no distinctions between group and individual mistakes that could have could be made. So two of the biggest mistakes that stood out were, for one, what I call lacking dominance in behavior. What that means, people were flinching away, people were unsure in the movements, and that actually led quite, as you can see in the costliness analysis, quite a lot of times that led to them being hit. The second one is the execution of tactics, which I would kind of want to classify as not quite certain, because execution of tactics could also be that these people just weren't quite sure how the tactics works, because that was maybe a new thing for them and they hadn't done them before. So although that is a big percentage of the mistakes that falls into this category, they're not necessarily the costliest mistakes. Within the costliest mistakes, first of all, the non-dominant behavior. The flinching out of doors or into rooms actually led to most people getting hit, either on a position that would be deadly or in a position that would be severely injuring them, if it were real munitions. The second one is missing teamwork. The uncoordinated movement within teamworks led to gaps in covers. So then also people got hit. And the third part, not utilizing cover or concealment, or also pre-announcing themselves, mostly was people's guns sticking into door frames and thus pre-announcing themselves. Now, what are the recommendations from that? First of all, we need to build confidence in these units. We can do that through the use of either VR training or LVC training, so live, virtual, and constructive training. And a lot of the training should be focused on training the very basics that are necessary for this. So weapons handling, communications, and also cognitive resilience techniques fall into this. The second point is spatial awareness, especially spatial orientation. The use of video games has already been proven with pilots to increase spatial orientation. So pictures there of the video game, I believe it's called Door Kickers. A second nice to have aspect of this would be that if you do it as a team, you can actually practice team communications. And lastly, stress resistance. The best thing for increasing stress resistance in these situations, next to cognitive resilience techniques, is training in mildly anxious conditions. So scenario-based training with live actors is actually the non plus ultra in this category. And thus, this is the, well, pragmatically speaking, least likely to happen. Building confidence and spatial awareness are easier to implement in a force. So thank you very much. These are my details. If you have any questions, you can find me either via email or via LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Is there a question to Ms. Bach?
I have one.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you. I understand that in this training, you mix conventional military with police and private security. Is there any intention to deploy private security and police to overseas operations in connection, in cooperation with the military? Thank you.
No. So I'm sorry, I skipped over that part a bit. They didn't train together. They just trained by the same company. So they're trained separately in their own groups, just for the sake of aggregating the data. I put them together, but the techniques and tactics used or taught to them were the same.
Thank you. If I may, a follow-up question. Regarding the domestic law and international law to be applied, how do you include this, if you do, within the overall training? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the question.
The application of domestic law and international law, and its inclusion within the overall training and education framework in this context.
I see. Yes, yes. So that was not a specific part of the study. However, the tactics taught are based on best practices under international law. So they take into account the factors of protection of civilians and being able to distinguish between a civilian and a military target, or a civilian and a police target. I hope that clarifies it a bit.
Thank you.
Any other question? No. Thank you, Ms. Bak, for your comprehensive briefing presentation. We have already completed 3 presentations. I would like to make a last call for Mr. Ibrahim Karataş. Are you online, Mr. Karataş? As far as I understand, he will not attend this conference. If so, let me briefly summarize the second session. 3 presentations in second session interlink the viability and form of airborne and air assault operations, the centrality of close-quarter battle skills, and physical scales of Russia-Ukraine battlefield shapes each other and how forces can fight, which tools and tactics dominate on any front depends on air and missile defense, logistics, depth, intelligence, drones, and doctrinal choices. While airborne operations are used for strategic depth, air assault are a form of forcible maneuver for tactical flexibility and quick insertion close to the objective. Close-quarter battle is indispensable in urban and tunnel environments, but must be integrated with intelligence, medevac, and fires. The physical dimensions of the battlefield are a primary determinant of which mix of airborne, ground maneuver, tunnel use, and close-quarter battle will dominate. Modern battlefields are layered and interconnected. Air mobility offers speed and reach. Close quarters battle defines the brutal human scale of fighting in constrained spaces. The larger and deeper the battlefield, the more important mobility, logistics, and long-range fires become. The smaller and denser the battlefield, the more dominant close-quarter battle, tunnel countermeasures, and urban intelligence become. This concludes my brief presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the chairperson. Komutanım. Sağ olun.
Thank you.
We completed this session, so we will start the session 3 at 15:15. So we have some time to take a coffee.
Okay.
Haluk Paşa'mı da gördüm burada.
So
Kendisini de
we
gördük.
start at 3:15 as planned.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.